Hey guys, I am back. Do you know? One of our planets in the solar system have more than 5 rings, and that too of a golden gem in between. Isn't it fascinating? Let's know more with Aditi.
It shines within the ringed world and glitters in the golden, leaving everyone stunned. Its fantasies and illusions makes one wonders, making it an exceptional art of the universe. So let's know more about the planetary gem of our solar system. Welcome you all aboard in this journey to the planetary gem. Now, I, Aditi, welcome you all, and today I'm your travel guide. So, without further ado, let's start. And meanwhile, to keep you all hooked and to increase your interest furthermore, let me introduce you with a theme. Today, we will be exploring the Saturn, the fantasies of it with ecstasy. Seems interesting and extremely privileged to do so. Now, I'm also very excited to share the deep inside stories of Saturn with you. Let's enjoy and get ready to explore the most photogenic planet. Let's catch some glimpses of the golden gem. Starting off from some basic facts. It's the sixth planet from the Sun, the second largest planet of the solar system, with the Jupiter being the first. With a lot of characters and features, it seems to be an enormous one. But despite of all this, it's the lightest planet among the all eight. It's even less dense than water, 8 times lesser than that. If it were to be placed in a bucket of ocean, then it would be able to float. Now talking about the accessories of the Saturn. It has the largest number of moons, 82 moons, in which 53 are confirmed, means they are named and discovered, and 29 are yet to be discovered and named. You can see this beauty with the naked eye in the night sky. Yes, it is the most distant planet that can be seen with the naked eye. Now, Saturn is the most flattest planet. Yes, and it adds to its beauty. Why is that? Because its polar diameter is 90% of its equatorial diameter. It orbits the Sun once every 29.4 Earth years, and it means the oldest of the old. It's nicknamed to be that. To explore the Saturn furthermore and to give us some deep insights, we have 4 spacecraft that visited Saturn, namely Pioneer 11, Voyager 1, 2, and the Cassini-Huygens missions. Let's know about these more in our upcoming slides. Talking of which, we are already here. And see, Saturn has started illusioning you. The true surface? Where's that? I know you all are scratching your head because it's replaced with a lots of clouds and gases. Why is that? The reason being the gaseous composition. It is predominantly made of hydrogen and helium, and due to its gaseous makeup, it has no true surface. Okay, all about the surface. Now, what about its core? At its center, it has a dense core of water, ice, and rocky materials, but no actual landmass. Now, why is that? It's like a paradox, isn't it? Because on one hand, we are saying that it has rocky material, and on the other hand, we are like it has no actual landmass. It's only because of the intense pressure and heat at the surface, at the core, and due to which all the gases and liquids get solidified. Now, Saturn is one of the windiest planet in the solar system. Wind speeds are recorded to be a staggering 1,800 kilometers per hour, giving it an astonishing texture. Now, the core is enveloped in the liquid helium. And how? Because the hydrogen gas that makes up most of the atmosphere slowly changes to liquid with depth as the pressure increases. Below the liquid hydrogen rests the heavier liquid helium. Now, what's the reason behind the storms that we see in Saturn? And now, what's the reason behind its beautiful patterns consisting of different bands of colors? Here also the reason being the gaseous makeup. The gases, liquids, and yellow ammonia crystals, they swirl around and create golden clouds and storms, due to which it give rise to beautiful patterns. Now, talking about the storms. The largest storm, as you can see in the picture, is at its North Pole, which is double the size of Earth, and it is shaped in a near perfect hexagon. Each of these sides encircle a massive hurricane. Now, let's talk about the seasonal storm. Saturn's seasonal storm, also known as the Great White Spot. Now, why is that? Why it's known as the white spot? To answer it in one word, it's only because of the whiteness of the storm, because of the water vapors. In the storm, the winds are swirling at such a great speed that they kick up water vapor and a lot of materials from as deep as 100 miles below the cloud tops, and hence it gives us a whiteness. Icing on the cake. Yes, my friends, let's get amazed by auroras of Saturn. This idiom fits perfectly for it. Auroras are powered by a tug of war between Saturn's magnetic field and the flow of charged particles. It is a source of strong radio emissions. Now, let's talk about its intensity. How is it so clearly visible? It's only because of the solar wind that blows on Saturn's magnetosphere and it contributes to the intensity. If we compare the energy that electron drives for auroras at Earth, it's much lesser if we compare it to the Saturn. That's why we can't clearly view the auroras at Earth, but in Saturn it's so much very clear. As you can see in the picture, you can see the uh, blue spot which is depicting the aurora. Now, you can't normally see them. It can't be visible from a regular telescope. You can only view them in the ultraviolet light. And now it's time to jump into the rings. Yes, the most astonishing feature of the Saturn, its rings. The rings are made of icy and rocky remnants, asteroids, and neighboring moons of Saturn. And these particles range in size as small as dust to as big as mountains. The rings, they all look mostly white and they orbit at a different speed around the planet. The ring system of Saturn is the most complex one and the most largest in the whole solar system. The whole ring system is divided into seven groups, and combining, they are as wide as 4.5 Earth and 0.66 mile thick. Now, let's study them deeply. If we start at Saturn, we will encounter the D ring. The D ring is the fainter one. Then we have the C ring, then the B ring, which is comparatively brighter. Between the B and A ring, we have a gap, which is known as the Cassini division, which is named by the Cassini orbiter. That is, that gives us exclusive photos of these rings. Then we have the F ring, which shelters two of the natural satellites of Saturn, Prometheus and Pandora. Then we have the G ring, and then the E ring, which elongates up to the Titan, which is the largest moon of Saturn. E ring also shelters Mimas, Enceladus, Tethys, Dione, and Rhea. Now the question arises how these rings stay in order, like on track and intact. The reason being shepherding moons. Shepherding moons are tiny satellites, means the moons of Saturn. They orbit between the rings and use their gravity to shape ring material into elliptical paths. Dust and ice from Saturn's rings, they accumulate on these type of moons that orbit in rings vicinity. Five tiny moons nestled in and near Saturn's rings, namely Atlas, Epimetheus, Pandora, Delphinus, and Pan. Now, these moons, they are kind of create and vice versa situation because they are also contributing to give rings the materials, and in reverse the rings contribute to accumulate in the boundary of these moon. So surface of these moons are covered with material from the planet's rings. Cassini's sacrifice for Saturn. Cassini's orbiter is mainly due to which we are able to study Saturn so closely. It has been launched in 1997 and it has been done a lot of breakthrough discovery. Titan or Enceladus, they both are capable of supporting life, being moons of Saturn. Yes, this breakthrough discovery is done by Cassini only. It is launched in 1997. Cassini arrived in orbit around Saturn in 2004. The first thing that it encountered was the Phoebe moon. In April, Cassini began the final phase of its mission, which is known as grand finale, which is very grand in itself, as it consists of a daring series of 22 weekly dives between the planet and its rings. Its death dive is protecting two possible life supporting Saturn moons as it discovered it. Now, after 20 years, Cassini is running out of fuel, so it has to end in the fiery demise in Saturn's cloud. But as you can see in the GIF, all good things end with a hug. So it's better if it is sacrificed its life in the Saturn's atmosphere only. Now let's talk about the jewels of Saturn, its moons. You can see a lot of popular moons of Saturn here. Now, let's have a quick overview of these moons. First being the Titan. Yes, Titan is the Saturn's largest moon and the second largest in the whole solar system. And it is also known to have clouds and dense atmosphere. The surface of Enceladus. It reflects more light than newly fallen snow. Yes, it reflects most of the light that it falls upon. Then talking about Mimas, Mimas is a heavily cratered surface which possesses one of the largest impact structures. And as I have told you earlier, Phoebe is the fourth stop of the Cassini probe on its way to Saturn. Now, the very hyped up topic about the Saturn, as it is known to be a token for another terrestrial planet. Why is that? It's because of its atmosphere. The atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen, like Earth's. But why isn't habitable? Because it has a surface pressure 50% higher than Earth's. It has clouds, rain, rivers, lakes, and seas of liquid hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Now, Titan's air is dense enough that you could walk around with a spacesuit, but you would need an oxygen mask and protection because in Titan you will encounter a very bitter cold. Now, the very main and the climax of this PPT, the storyline of Saturn. Since ancient times, Saturn has known to be to humanity. Why? Because of its brightness and closeness to Earth. They have also nicknamed it as God of Agriculture. The first telescopic observation was conducted by Galileo Galilei in 1610. Galileo Galilei, he has also spotted Saturn's rings through a telescope, but because of lack of information, he mistaken them for a triple planet. So the actual discovery of the rings took place by Christian Huygens in 1659. Now it's all about the past. Let's come to the present and let's further know about some current missions to Saturn. First being the Pioneer 11 flyby. The Pioneer 11 flyby is where the Saturn was first visited by and it studied the rings. Then Voyager 1, it sent back the first high resolution images of the planets, rings, and satellites. Voyager 2 discovered and confirmed several new satellites orbiting near or within the planet's rings, like the four tiny moons that I've told you earlier. Then the Cassini orbiter, it conducted a close flyby of Phoebe and saw the first proof of hydrocarbon lakes near Titan's Earth, North Pole. So, and finally, the Saturn waves you a goodbye and he thank you for landing here. And as you know all of the secrets of the Saturn, please don't forget to wonder on a lot more that is to be explored. Until then, the ringed planet waves you a goodbye. And it's also now ready to answer all of your questions about it. So you can shoot the questions. So the first question is it true that few newly discovered moons of Saturn rotate opposite? See, each of the newly discovered objects in orbit around Saturn is about 5 kilometers in diameter. You can sense the huge orbit the planet backwards. It is known as retrograde direction. The other three moons orbit direction as Saturn rotates. Now, two of the prograde moons take about 2 years to travel once around the ring planet. Now, another question is Saturn visible these days? Yes, my friend. You can easily you can view them in the night sky. And also, uh, if you have a regular telescope, you can also view its rings and the planet itself. Now another question is popping up to be is are Saturn's ring are composed of what? As I have told you earlier, they're composed of comets, asteroids, then from neighboring moons also. Saturn's ring and it has powerful gravity of the planet. Ice is a highlight, comprising billions of small particles coated in dust. So, are we having any more questions? Now let's look on to one more. Saturn surpasses Jupiter after the each of the. So as I told you earlier, yes, moons rotate opposite of the Saturn. Some of them. Okay, so I think we have completed questioning to your questions. So keep exploring, and hence let's meet in the next trip.